Welcome. You have reached review time with Emperiol. Today's review would be the movie Archive, starring Theo James and Stacey Martin. Also, Toby Jones plays in a few different movies. He plays as Vincent Sinclair, and you have Theo James as George Almore and Stacey Martin as Jules Almore, also playing as artificial intelligence voices. Now, if you are been into like artificial intelligence movies, I mean, through the decades, we didn't seen Star Wars was kind of like my early on seeing artificial intelligence, and that was way back in the 70s. And well, I wasn't born in the 70s, but Star Wars started in the 70s, where you first start seeing robots talking. And back in the 80s, you had a TV show called Small Wonder, where it was an artificial intelligent kid that they was playing off of. Bring it to the 90s, you had iRobot. I think that was in the 90s or the early 2000s with Will Smith. And each time they're getting better and better with these artificial intelligence. Then, as of late, you had a movie called Ex Machina or something like that. And a lot of people slept on that movie, and that was a good movie. And it kind of reminded me of this movie right here, with a twist at the end. And this one has a twist at the end as well. And then you had the movie called Replicas that came out with Keanu Reeves that didn't get a lot of buzz. And it wasn't really artificial intelligence. It was technology that was being used to replica humans. Replica, Keanu Reeves' whole family were killed in a car accident, and he replica all of them, like cloned them basically. So that was an interesting movie. So this is basically kind of like taking some parts of a lot of different movies, and this is what's happening. So George Almore, he is a very intelligent guy and is into the whole artificial intelligence world. When the movie picks up, he's out in the middle of nowhere in some forest, and you see he's out in this lab in the middle of nowhere by himself. But he has these robots. He has the house voice that controls all the system. He has robots in which he talks to, and that helps him do the day to day. So he have each robot that he created, he's trying to make the better version of. So then he went from robot one, was just like the standard, no arms, just big box type robot, and then robot two, he got arms and legs, but it still had like the box head. And now robot three is supposed to be like the final piece, and each robot has a dimension of intelligence. So each level, the robot one, which is J1, it stopped, like its knowledge stopped like at a 5-year-old level. And then the next level, it went a little bit higher. And then 3 got the full blown knowledge of everything. But what happens is J2 is emotionally attached, where J2 feels as though that she needs to evolve, and why didn't he continue to make her better and this, that, and the third. But his focus is on to recreate his wife. So the whole time you see this movie, you see him having memories of his wife, and going pretense, and you see something horrific must have happened to his wife, and it never really tells you what fully happened, but you kind of could tell either she died from natural causes, she got sick, or some type of car accident, because he has a scar on his face. So when he's putting them together, J3, he can feel some of her memories, And so it's a company that's furnish. I mean, not furnishing. That's funding this whole project called Archive, and their thing is what they do is if they capture your loved one right before they die, and they take your loved one last thoughts, so you can always go and retrieve your loved one's last thoughts and like talk to them and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's their conscious. Like you, like I mean, if you watch a lot of different videos, read stuff that they say before a person passed, completely, their conscious is the brain is still moving, and they capture that moment where you could go into the archive and talk to your loved one for 2 hours or whatever. And so that's the whole plot. But his deal is to take that archive software and then put it inside of one of his J3 robots, artificial intelligence, so he can have his wife recreated all over again. So that's what the plot of the movie. And you see J2 is jealous and doing little things to mess the security up in the system, and he got to keep going out fixing security, and then ultimately J2 commits basically they can't be around water, so they J2 just pissed herself into water, basically dysfunction in her whole body. He can't find her or whatever. So, but he couldn't find her because he had put J3 full body, full blown. J3's moving all around, and he's so into J3. This J2. So now when it comes down to the whole, he want to fully put the archive message into J3. The company archive said, hey, we knew that something's up with you. And he was basically acting like he was out at that lab by himself, and the J1 and the J2 didn't exist, and he didn't tell them what he was doing. And basically they just thinking he's just out there, and he basically is creating all these artificial intelligence to recreate his wife. So he eventually got J3 up and running, and then they was breaching his whole compound. He thinking that they coming in to breach his compound and to take away J3 after he got her up and running and got his wife's thoughts into it. And so he zipped the archive memory into J3, and when he zipped it into her, it came out the same person, and he was sitting there like, what's up? So the whole movie, this thing could call him, and he could talk to the thing, and so that thing called him. And when he one of the moments, it showed the wife was holding her stomach, so she was pregnant during the time of the accident. And so it showed their conversation about him taking on that project out in the middle of nowhere. And you see the accident, and you see him all bloodied on the but you never really see her the whole time. So the last moment, the last scene, he's sitting there with J3, and J3 is basically telling him don't answer the little calling thing that he would use to talk to the archive, to talk to his wife's conscious. And then on the voice, she's telling him, basically this is gonna be the last time, and you know what I'm saying, and she wanted to introduce him to the daughter. Now when you think about, now you like, well, that's trippy, because the wife is pregnant. How would the wife be talking? How would the little girl, well, his daughter, be talking to him? Like, that for the daughter to be talking, the daughter had to be a couple years old, you know. And so it's at that moment when the little girl says, "I never get a chance to meet you, but I love you," whatever, whatever. You notice that the whole movie, he was the archive. Awesome twist. Awesome twist. They went through all that, and in the very end, he's the archive memory, and it shows the character Vincent Vinclair, who runs the archive company. It shows him with the wife Jules Almore. Shows her, he gives her like a disc or something that from the husband. So he never made it. That was the twist. He never really made it out of the accident, and she was talking to him the whole time doing. He was the actual archive or whatever. So that was a good movie. Definitely a nice plot twist at the end of the movie. It's definitely a good watch. Definitely good, if you're into that type of artificial intelligence type movie. Definitely a good watch. Out of my 4-star rating system, I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 4 stars. It was a good movie. Definitely a decent watch. 3 out of 4 stars. I could see somebody going higher, 3.5, because it wasn't really nothing wrong. If you into those type movies, it was definitely a good movie, and definitely a nice twist at the end. Subscribe to this channel. Keep allowing the channel to grow. Like the video. Till next time.